Hello, my name is Keshwani. That's K-E-S-H-W-A-N-I, Keshwani. We are here because we want to prepare for the GMAT. We have been solving GMAT math problems out of this book here, GMAT Review, the official guide, the 13th edition. If you do not own this book already, purchase one immediately. You're going to need it. This book contains 230 problem solving questions. It contains 174 data sufficiency questions. We've already solved all the problems from this book. If you're interested in watching the original solution, you will find the solutions. If you're interested in watching the original problems, you will find the solutions to the original problems from day number 1 through 250. Let's get going. Right now we are redoing the problem and we are on page number 154. Please turn to it. Page number 154. The very first problem that we're going to do is problem number 15. In problem number 15 we are told that we have spent half of our money on fruit, 1/3 on the meat, 1/10 on the bakery. We are told that we're going to spend the remaining $6 on the candy. And the question simply is, what was the total amount that was spent? Let's find out, shall we? Very first thing we have to do is to add up all these figures here. We have 1/2 plus 1/3 plus 1/10. We need a common denominator here. Let's have a common denominator of 30. Let's have a common denominator of 30. If we multiply top and bottom by 3 here, we will have a 30 here. Let's multiply top and bottom by 10 here, and we will have a 30 here. And let's multiply this guy, top and bottom, by 15. And now we have a common denominator of 30, and we can simply add them up. So here we get 15 times 1, which is 15. Here we get 10, and here we're going to get 3 over 30, not 15. And that's 13 plus 15 is 28 over 30. And if you reduce 28 over 30, we end up with 14th 15th. What does this tell us? This tells us that if this is 14th 15th, then this $6 must represent the remaining 1/15th. 14th 15th of the amount is already spent on fruit, meat, and bakery. The $6 must represent 1/15th. $6 represents 1/15th of the amount. Let's call it dollar, D for dollar amount, and that's it. We're done. Multiply both sides by 15, and we find the dollar amount that we're looking for is 15 times 6, which is $90. The total amount that was spent was $90. Let's do number 16, shall we? That one was quite straightforward. Number 16. In number 16 we are told that on Monday eight parcels were sent out with the average weight of 12 and 3/8 pound. We were told that on Tuesday we were told that 4 parcels were sent out with the average weight of 15 and 1/4 pound. And the question simply is, what's the average weight of all of these 12 packages that we have sent out? What was the average weight in pound of the packages the person mailed on these 2 days? Essentially what they're looking for here, what they're looking here is what is known as the weighted average. Let's find out the weighted average. Now when we're doing a problem like this, weighted average, before you spend a great deal of time doing it out nicely and neatly like a good schoolboy or a good schoolgirl, there are certain things that you can do to save yourself a couple of seconds. And one of those things is to always glance at the answer choices, because there are always some answer choices that are simply ludicrous, simply insane. For example, here we're given answer choices A, B, C, D, and E. 13th and 1/3 we are told, 13th and 16th, 15 and a half, 15 and 16th, and 16 and a half. That's Typically, you know, I do not take the time to write down all the answer choices, but here we need to write down all the answer choices because the whole point is to recognize an insane answer when we see one. We're looking for the weighted average of 12 and 3/8 and 15 and 1/4. Forget about the weighted average, forget about the fact that these are 4 of them and these are 8 of them. Let's just keep it very simple and listen to what I have to say. When we're taking the average of a whole bunch of numbers, listen to me very carefully. When we take the average of a whole bunch of numbers, here we have 12 numbers. We have 4 of these numbers and we have 8 of these numbers. We have 12 numbers. 8 numbers we have which are 12 and 3/8. 8 of them, and then we have 4 of these numbers. But it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter whether we have 12 numbers or 12 million numbers. The point that we need to understand, a very simple fact that we need to understand, very elementary fact that we need to understand when we're dealing with averages is that when we're taking the average of a whole bunch of numbers, the average of all of these numbers, doesn't matter how many there are, the average of all of these numbers can never, ever, ever be higher than the highest number in the group. How can the average be higher than the highest number in the group? If I give you a whole bunch of numbers here, 3, 7, 9, 15, 27, and 42, I don't know what the average of this number is, but the average of this number is not going to be higher than 42. It is impossible for the average of these numbers to be higher than 42. It is also impossible for the average of a group of numbers to be less than the lowest number in the group. The average can never fall below the lowest number in the group, and average can never be higher than the highest number in the group. But we only have 2 numbers here. We have 12 and 3/8 and 15 and 1/4. We have 4 of these and 8 of these. But the point is, 15 and 1/4 is the highest number that we have, highest value that we have in these 12 numbers. How can the average of these 12 numbers be more than 15 and 1/4? This is insane. This is 15 and a half. This is silly. This is idiotic. 15 and 15, 15. I don't know what these people are thinking who picked these answers. The average cannot be more than 15 and 1/4. I don't know what the hell the average is, but it's not going to be more than 15 and 1/4. It's not even going to be 15 and 1/4 because there are 8 of these packages who are pulling the average down. It's not going to be 16 and a half. It's got to be either A or B. Now I'm going to continue with my argument a little bit. And the second part that I'm going to do, you might not like it. You might think that I'm insane, but I'm just telling you what I would do. What I would have done if I were taking the real exam right now. If I were taking the real exam right now, what I would say to myself is that we have 8 oxes which are about 12 pounds, not even less than 12 and a half pounds. And only 4 of them that are about 15 pounds. The average of 12 and 15, they are 3 apart, which means the average is going to be halfway in between, which is 13 and a half. And this assumes that we have same number of this assumes that we have same number of 12 and we have same number of 15. The weights are the same. Even in that case, the average is going to be 13 and a half. The fact that we have hell of a lot more of the lighter packages. I understand that it's not 12, it's 12 and 3/4, but then again, this is not 15, it's 15, very good. I'm making it very nitty-gritty now. Even in that case, the average would be 13 and a half. How can it be so close to 14? This number is also too high in my eyes. There is no doubt about C, D, and E. There is no discussion about these parts. These are definite. C, D, and E are definite insanity. B is something that you have to take you have to go with how much of a faith you have in your gut feeling, how much of a faith you have in your mathematical inklings. Let's find out what the answer is, sure? But my gut feeling tells me that it's going to be A. B is too high also. B is very close to 14. Let's find out, shall we? So that's it. A number is right here. We simply have to add them up and divide by 12. Let's do it out. Enough of the talk. So 8 times 12 and 12 and 3/3 and 4 times 15 and 1/4. Let's find out what that is, okay? Let's see how we're going to do it. 8 times 12. How much is 8 times 12? 8 times 12 is 96. And how do I know that 8 times 12 is 96? Because 8 tens are 80, and if you add 2 more 8, that's 16. 80 plus 16 is 96. And then we have 8 times 3/8. 8 times 3/8. I'm just doing it for your benefit. I'm not going to do it in real exam. 8s are going to cancel out, and it's just 3. So that's the first part. The second part is 15 times 4, which is 60. That's no problem. And then we have 1/4. 4 1/4. I do not like the way it looks here, and the reason why the way it looks is because 4 is sitting in the back here instead of front. Let me write it down separately. 4 times 15 15 and 1/4. Now it's going to look better. 4 times 15 is 60, and 4 times a quarter. 4 times a quarter, it's just going to be 1. As I said, we're not going we would not do this out in a real exam. We'll just look at it and realize that 4 times a quarter is 1. I'm just doing it for your benefit. Similarly here, 8 times 3, 8 are going to cancel out, it's just 3. So here we get 96 plus 3, which is 99. And here we get 60 plus 1, which is 61. 99 plus 1 is 6. 99 plus 1 is 100. Plus the 60 is 160. So this amount is 160. And now we have to divide that amount by 12. Let's find out what 160 over 12 is, shall we? Or let's do it here so we can actually see it easily. 160 over 12. Watch what happens. How many 12 in a 16? How many 12 in a 16? 16 has 1 12. 16 has 1 12. The remainder 4 goes and joins this 0 and it becomes 40. Now we have to ask ourselves how many 12s in a 40. 40 has 3 12s. 3 12s are 36. So we cross out this 0 and we put down 3. 3 12s are 36. Now we have a remainder of 4. We use out of the 40 we used up 36. We have a remainder of 4 which is being divided by 12. As you can see, 4 12. 4 12 is our 1/3. The answer is A. Answer is A. Let's move on then to the next one, number 17. Number 17. But as you can see, the problem that we just finished, they're just trying to see if you understand the concept of average, weighted average that is, and if you understood the concept, that question that we just finished should have taken no more than 10-20 seconds at the most. We realize the C, D, and E are insane, and we say to ourselves, what's going to be the average of these 12 numbers? 8 of them are lower values, so it's going to pull the average down. It's not going to be, it's going to be something less than 13.5. My gut feeling tells me that the average is going to be something less than 13.5. The average cannot be so close to 14. Answer is A. Number 17. In number 17, we are simply asked to add these numbers. 1.1 times 0.1 squared plus 0.1 cubed. Well, 0.1 squared is 0.1 times 0.1. I'm not sure if I need to do this in a baby way like this. 1 times 1 is 1. And then we have to move the decimal places. Here we have 1 decimal place and here we have another decimal place. So we have to take the decimal place and move it 2 places. 1, 2. Similarly, 0.1 times 0.1 times 0.1 is going to be 1 again. And how we have to move the decimal 1, 2, 3 places. We have to move the decimal 3 places in our answer. So here's the decimal. Move it 3 places. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, right there. And we just have to add them up. So let's do it. Let's add them up. So we have 0.1 times 0.01 times 0.001, and that's it. As simple as that. 0.11. Answer is going to be 0.111. That was silly. That was childish. That was just childish. The answer is B. Let's move on to the next one, number 18. Number 18. In number 18, we are told that the capacity is 10 cubic feet. The capacity, we are told, is 10 cubic feet of whatever it is that we're dealing with. I don't have it written down. A certain carpenter constructs a rectangular sandbox. So we have a rectangular sandbox which has a capacity of 10 cubic feet, and the question simply is, what's going to happen if we were to double each of these dimensions? Double each of the dimensions, alright? So double each of the dimensions. Now the place where people end up wasting tremendous amount of time, inordinate amount of time, is the place where people end up spending inordinate amount of time in this question is they actually spend their time to figure out the actual dimensions of this box by taking the 10 cubic feet, and they take the cube root of 10. They sit there and ask themselves, oh my god, what is that amount? We don't have to do any of that. They're simply testing a simple concept, which is what happens to the volume of certain thing, a rectangular box that is, if you double its dimensions. So let's find out. We're going to build our own rectangular box, and our rectangular box is going to be an eccentric rectangular box. Our rectangular box is going to be a peculiar rectangular box. Our rectangular box is going to be actually a cube. It doesn't matter, just make it a cube, 1 by 1 by 1, in which case the volume is 1 cubic something, 1 cubic unit. Now what would happen if I double the dimensions? Well, if you double the dimensions, now it's going to be 2 times 2 times 2, now it is 8 cubic unit. What happened to the volume? The volume is 8 times as much. So what's going to happen to the capacity if you double each of the dimensions? It's going to be 8 times as much. Whatever the capacity was, doesn't matter what the original capacity was. We just found out that if you have a cube, and if you double each of the dimensions, the volume of the cube is 8 times as much as before. Well, the answer is 8 times as much. That's it, we are done. The volume of the new sandbox is 80 cubic feet. Let's move on to the next one then. Number 19. Number 19. In number 19, we are told that we have a total of 40 donuts. We were told that we were sold half of these by noon. Apparently we opened the shop with 40 donuts. By noon we have sold half of them. And then we are told that we sold the 80% of the remaining. This part is very important. In the exam, they're not going to underscore it for you to pay attention to it. You just have to pick up on it. It's remaining. By closing. So we sell 80% of the remaining by closing. In the real exam, they're not going to underscore it for us. The question is, how many were not sold? Let's find out. We're taking too long. You don't need to do it in such a babyish way. Let's just do it out. So we started out with 40. We sold 80. We sold half by noon. So these were by noon. And then 80% of the remaining. What is 80% of the remaining? 80% of 20. This 80% of remaining is 80% of 20. How much is 80% of 20? 10% of 20 is 2. 10% of 20 is 2. 80% is 2 times 8, which is 16. So how many were unsold? Well, it's just 4. We have 16 here. This 20 was sold, half of them. The 4 are unsold. How many donuts were unsold at the end of the shop? At the end of the closing time, the answer is 4. Let's move on. Number 20. Number 20. It says, what is the 25th digit? 25th digit of the decimal form of 6/11. What is the 25th digit of the decimal form of 6/11? Let's find out, shall we? Listen, let me take care of these two words here, because if I don't, I will never remember it and I'll close the video. I've done that before. I don't want to do that. When did we learn the word inordinate? Inordinate simply means excessive, unreasonable, inordinate amount of time. What I said, the way we use it in the context is that sometimes people end up taking inordinate amount of time doing out the exact same problem the exact same way it's supposed to be done mathematically. It's not necessary. Number 72. Just type, if you're interested in improving your vocabulary, just type in vocab words, GMAT vocab words that is, just type in GMAT vocab words, day 72, along with my name, and you will see the video where we learn the word inordinate. Now, underscore is an interesting word. It's a very simple word for most native, but I like to make fuss about it nonetheless. Number 12. watch the video nonetheless. Even if you know the word, you might learn some interesting tidbits as to how the word came about, the etymology of the word, that is. And if you don't know what etymology means, we can learn that too. We can go on forever, but we're not going to. Let's do it out here. 6/11 is what we're looking for, so we want to divide 6 by 11. 6 by 11. And the question is, what's going to be in the 25th digits? Let's find out, shall we? It's not going to go any times, so we put a decimal, it becomes 60. We divide by 5, we get 55. We get 5, put a 0 here. 50, we go 4 times, it becomes 44. We get a 6 here, and as you can see, as we get a 6 here, the story is going to start all over again. We stick a 60, it becomes 5 times, 55, we get a 5, we stick a 0, we go 4 times, we get a 6, and it goes on forever. The question is, what is going to be in the 25th digit? 25th digit. Because they are pairs of 2, it goes 5, 4, 5, 4, 5, 4, forever and ever. Because they are pair of 4, because the pattern is repeating by the 2's, by the pair, that tells us that the 24th, how can I show it? I should have written it here. This is going to be the 24th place. 24th place because it's a pair. And because this pair, each even number is going to be 20, each even place is going to be 4. The 2nd, the 4th, the 6th, the 8th, and the 24th. The question here is what is in the 25th place? Answer is, in the 25th place we're going to have a 5. We're going to have a 5 in the 25th place because it repeats 5, 4. So the answer to this thing, 611 is equal to 5, 4 repeating. It is 5, 4 repeating. Let's do the last one on the page, number 21. Number 21. $150 is what percent of 30? Well, there are a couple of ways we can go about it. One is just a quick way is to simply realize. The quick way is simply to realize that 150 is 5 times 30. 150 is 5 times 30. And therefore 150 is 500% of 30. That's it. Because it's 5 times the amount. 2 times the amount would have been 200%. 60 is 200%. 60 would have been 200% of 30, 90 would have been 300% of 30, and so on and so forth. 150 is 5 times the amount, so it's 500%. That's it. So that's one way to do that. Another way to do this thing actually is to translate this thing into, do it in a more traditional way, the more algebraic way, which is to convert this into an equation and make a big fuss about it, if you like, algebraically, which is this way. 150 is means equals what, that's our unknown, percent means over 100, of means times 30, and we just solve for x. We just solve for x, multiply both sides by 100. 100 drops out, divide both sides by 30. 30 drops out, and we're left with x. And x is simply 100 times 150 over 30. Divide top and bottom by 10, divide top and bottom by 5, and we end up with 10 times 50, 10 times 50, which is our 500. 500%. The answer is 500%. I'll see you tomorrow, okay? We are finished with the page here, and I'm not going to continue the next page right now. I'll see you tomorrow, okay? Bye now.